Before you update your camera's firmware, stop. Wait just a second. Firmware updates can be very simple, easy, non-impactful, to leading to unexpected changes to outright disaster. Canon R5 users, I'm going to use my Canon R5 to update my firmware, and there's a surprise for us in this latest update. So the rest of you, stick with me as we go through the step-by-step process of updating your firmware on your camera. Let's talk about my philosophy on firmware and why and when you should do the updates. So first off, yes, you should apply firmware updates. My philosophy is firmware is basically just software for your hardware. And when the hardware comes out, the developers have to create a firmware for that. There'll be updates. They may not have done everything perfect on the first release, so they are going to do updates. So yes, you need to apply firmware updates. So when do you apply them is the next question. The when is after an update has come out. Let it hit the market for a little bit. Hit Reddit, hit Twitter, hit YouTube, hit Bing, Google, whatever you want to look at to see if other people have applied that update, and are they issue free or are they having problems? If you can't find any problems, you're probably safe to go. If there is problems, trust me, the noise will be there, you will find it, and you'll skip that update until they fix it. So what does a firmware actually do? They're usually in one of three categories: bug fix, new features, or some performance improvements. First, we need to find out if your camera actually needs a firmware update. And to do that, let's grab your camera. I'll grab my Canon R5, and I will put my screen down here at the bottom, and we are going to go find our firmware version. All right, I jumped right into my menu system on my Canon R5, and we're going to scroll way to the right till I get to the wrench. And it's not on the first menu, it's 2 or 3 in, depending on which mode you're in, and you'll see the version number right there. Now that you know you need a firmware update, let's go find it. I'm going to go back to the corner and let's browse the web. So when you search, put your camera model in there. I have a Canon R5, so I'm going to put in Canon R5 and firmware update. You can see I've already searched for it. I'm going to pick that. Once you find that, ignore any third party. Make sure you go to Canon if you're at Canon, Nikon if you got Nikon, etc. Once you click on that, for some reason, Canon refreshes twice for me. Maybe it's an edge thing, who knows. But anyway, find your website, find your model, find the firmware update. There'll be 2 versions, one's for Mac, one's for Windows. You're going to have to click that box that says that you agree with the terms and conditions. Read them if you like, but you can't download it unless you check that. And once you click that and hit download, it will download to your computer. If you're getting value out of this, hit like and subscribe. The next step is to put your SD card in your computer and copy the file to your SD card. So let's do that. All right, I have my files extracted already. I'm on a MacBook. And when you find your file and you got the correct version, double click on it. When you double click on it, it may seem like nothing at all happened, when in fact it actually mounts a little drive over here on the left. So when you click on that, you will see your firmware and an instruction PDF on how to do what we're actually doing today. So copy that file and go to your SD card. Really important, it goes on the root of the SD card. Don't put it on any folders that might be there that your camera created. The next step is to take your SD card out of your computer and place it back in your camera. And we're going to put our camera in P mode. The reason for P mode is it's a base to use because everyone will be on the same page for the most part. And there's a least amount of customization on P mode. So put your camera in P mode. Okay, we've done all the preliminary steps to get the card ready with the firmware, and it's back in our camera. So word of advice here, do not interrupt the update once you start it. Make sure you're in P mode as we just did. Once you've got all that set, we're ready to start the update. Once you start the update, do not shut it off. Make sure you have a fully charged battery and do not touch any buttons during the update. So in my menu system on my Canon R5, it is under the wrench. And since I have a file in there, it's going to look like I have the current version. I do not. I will open that and I will see, yep, I have a firmware update. The firmware has just finished on my Canon R5, and now it's ready for some settings. Some firmware updates are going to have you go through the setup depending on the version change and how much has changed. So the first step is for me to choose English. After I choose English, we're going to get to the next step. And this is the step that the R5 users are going to see. And that is asking for a password. The password has to be 6 digits. It's just numbers. And don't think that you're going to have to type this password every time you want to take a photo. That's not what it's for. This is going to be used for installing firmware, for connecting to Wi-Fi or some other security related features. It's not going to get in your way of taking photos. So this is safe to install and it's not going to impact your photography. Once that's complete, you're going to click OK, but make sure you have saved that password somewhere you can get to it, or it's a password that you can easily remember. Just in summary, this video was about how to do your updates on your camera, whether it's Canon, Nikon, or whatever. This process is essentially the same. If you made it this far in my video, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. I do have a newsletter. I'll put a link down below. Please subscribe to my newsletter. I'm just starting that out, and I appreciate if you subscribe to that as well. Remember, firmware updates are not about chasing the latest and newest thing. It's about keeping your camera up to date with the current technology that they know about for your camera. This is Doug Gabbard, practicing photography, getting better, one photo at a time.